Call this meeting to order.
Ah, my apologies. I was trying to get off another call and I finally did. So,
It's okay. No, we're glad you're here. Thank you.
All right, Brian, just so you are aware, as the chair, we do have our guest speakers here tonight as guests. I'm going to promote them to panelists now,
Beautiful.
considering they are the first item under public comment.
All right, let's go to public comment then. And why don't you introduce them when they come on board?
Yeah. Mehmet, hi. Can you hear us?
Actually, I was a bit worried that I wasn't able to attend because I didn't see my Zoom thing pop up, so I was thinking I wasn't here.
No, it's just the webinar settings. You're here.
We got
Is there
you.
is there anyone else that's going to be joining you in another account that I should watch out for so I can promote them to a panelist
No,
if they
just
jump
me.
in? Just yourself?
Yes.
All right. Well then, you should have the ability to share your screen if you so choose to. And I'll give you some time to speak.
Here you go. Welcome, Emmett.
Thank you, gentlemen. Alrighty. Now, what I wanted to share with you today is the presentation that I showed recently, the Department of Transportation, and with regards to our Safe Lovely Street project. I'm not sure if all of you are aware of this yet, but what we're trying to do is we are trying to establish the first ever grid-separated bike lanes in the whole Farmington Valley, right on Lovely Street. Now, let's start with the presentation, shall we? Yeah. Also, I'm not able to share my screen, it appears. It says host disabled.
We can fix that.
Yeah, we'll fix that. Hold on.
So just one question. I'm just curious. This does affect part of Farmington, right?
Yes, yes. It
Great.
affects it affects Canton, Avon, and Farmington.
Okay.
It will be connecting Unionville, right? As you know, it will be connecting the Canton shops, and there will be a way for the greenway that attaches to Collinsville. So it will be a three-modal connection that will be linking up our whole entire network.
What town are you from?
Me, I'm from Avon.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's too bad. I was going to snag you up for these committees. I like you already.
No, Matt, you should be good to share your screen.
Alrighty. Here, does everybody see this?
Yep.
Sure do.
Alrighty. Let's go on. The Safe Lovely Street Project by the Green Valley Volunteers, led by yours truly. Right. So, who we are. We are the students, the families, the friends and folk of the Farmington Valley. I, personally, am a high school sophomore in Avon High, along with most of my friends who are helping me on this project. We have garnered the support of thousands of people alike, all across the three towns in which a safe, lovely street will be created. In Avon, my town, we have been working closely with our council, who have expressed exemplary support for our project. Here you can see a quote from our chair of our council. He quoted in the most recent council meeting that we had, I think it was on December 29th, that the town supports your project, we are your allies. Now, what I would like to say is that my group, the Green Valley Volunteers, is that you don't have to sign up, you don't have to do anything too special to be a Green Valley Volunteer. Anyone who supports a modern, green, and sustainable future is a Green Valley Volunteer in my eyes. Now, Lovely Street today. This here, what we'll see, is a first-person documentary series that I shot this summer, right? It's very amateurish, as what I did was basically, I had my phone, right? And I put it in front of my bicycle. And what I did was, I basically recorded the entire state of the road and a couple days. And so now we have this first-person view of what it's like to ride a bicycle on Lovely Street today. Now, let's see if this will let me show one of our highlights of the most dangerous part. Here. Well, I think that certainly sets the example of what it's all about. Now, the future of Connecticut. Lovely Street, as I call it, is approximately a 4.7-mile long portion of the Safe Route 177 as we know it today. Now, when the Safe Lovely project is implemented, it will be the first of its kind in our whole state. It will connect thousands of families to shops and services in Unionville, Collinsville, and Canton. It will allow for elementary students utmost safety and accessibility to their school, Roaring Brook. It will sew together the bonds of thousands of families with their neighbors and friends without the threat of danger. It will be the bastion of hope our state needs in these hard times, serving as an exemplar of what we, the state, and the people of Connecticut can achieve if we work together. So, how do we do it? Well, currently, vehicle traffic operates on 11 to 12 feet of space per lane on the street, in total 22 to 24 feet. The section of painted lines in which most bicycle users and pedestrians are given within the street range from at most 3 feet to less than half a foot of space from the vehicular lanes. All are dangerously close and exposed. Now, in accordance with the most recent state guidelines that were set, the plan calls for the creation of 2 fully separated bicycle lanes, both 5 feet wide with bollards on the vehicle adjacent sides. State-of-the-art interchanges and crossings would be implemented. More on that in the next slides. Now, the most crucial question that we always keep getting is there enough space? Well, yes, there is. Now, apart from, is there enough space question, there we also get the question of how will it impact private property? To create our 5 feet wide lanes on both sides with protection and our state-of-the-art interchanges, based on the current available area in which we will be doing this, we will consider a couple things. First is either we can narrow the vehicular lanes by 1 to 2 feet per lane, staying at a minimum of 10 feet. Now, 10 feet lanes have 50% less traffic accidents than 12-foot lanes, as proven by a variety of studies. Now, secondly, we would utilize the state and town's public right-of-way by 1 to 2 feet along the street. Power lines, mailboxes, by majority are 2.5 feet to 4 feet away, as by my surveys. Now, the private property owner, unless unlawful construction has occurred near the road, will not be disturbed. And I don't think that's the case for any of the roads along the property. Now, thus, the improvements and project fits within the necessary area. Now, our most crucial part of our project, the protected bike lanes. Our protected bicycle lanes would, for the majority of the sections without driveways, intersections, and crossings, they would implement a bollard about 3 feet high, every 12 feet connected by a chain with a suspended flower basket in the middle 6 feet, providing pollinators as well. Now, we are open to other designs for the safety and beauty of the road, as would by complying to the engineering guidelines of the state and the federal government. Now, for sections in which driveways are found and garbage collection need be occur, gaps along the protection would be implemented. Our goal for these bike lanes is to provide the safest possible environment for all ages, as well as invest in a product that will showcase the art and culture of our valley with a solution that is environmentally friendly. This includes making sure that the protection is both durable and beautiful. In our design, the flower baskets would increase the population of pollinators. The bollards would implement wonderful etchings of metallurgy or other designs if you wish. And so here we actually see one of my friends. We actually asked her to do a drawing of this. And this is a wonderful artist's depiction of what could be Lovely Street. And here you see other global examples of what we try to accomplish. For example, very here on the left is an example from Barcelona. On the top is the Netherlands, a suburb in the Netherlands. And these images are actually from a city in California. Now, for intersections and crossings, our next slide will explain that. Protected interchanges. This, I think, is the most crucial part of our plan, because with cyclist priority interchanges, this would allow for people to cross with safety. Now, these will include extended curved cycle paths, traffic islands, and raised crossings. Without such interchanges, bicycle users and drivers are vulnerable to accidents. Now, there are 3 main types of intersections. Here, in number 1, you can see the neighborhood interchange, which is the majority along the whole road. 2 is the major intersections, which are Country Club, Westmont, and half of the portions of Route 44 in Unionville. And thirdly is our special section with our Roaring Brook. So these are the new interchanges that we hope on putting in. Number 1 is a typical neighborhood crossing, which there are 31 of them in total over the whole of Lovely Street. This would include, as you can see here, this is the bike lane where you're seeing green with the protection. These are the crossings that would either be raised or very much, be painted boldly as to deter drivers from coming in fast. And this would be an interchange that would go into the neighborhood. Now, second design is the most up-to-date design on protected interchanges from all of our global designs. Now, we chose this one because it is the safest one, I believe. So this one, what this does is we extend a curb line, right? Because this mitigates the scenario for drivers driving in and curving into the side, which allows for the fact that you can't see bicyclists coming in. But if you have a curved line, you're going to have to wait a little bit before you turn. And so both the cyclist and the driver will be safer off. This will dramatically cut down traffic accidents. And now, number 3 is our Roaring Brook section, in which we will be implementing this section here. Now, this below you can see is a typical neighborhood crossing, which is Northgate. This is the Roaring Brook section in which we will be having a raised island practically right there, which will slow down traffic and allow for the kids to cross safely and efficiently. Now, are there any questions about the new interchanges? Alrighty then. A key note, there will be no stop signs. No stop signs means that the eventual high amount of those utilizing Lovely Street's infrastructure can flow efficiently and safely, while at the same time encouraging cycling. Now, this is because in most actually areas, instead of, putting in signage and such, if we redesigned our road to ensure safety and lower speeds, vehicles would yield to the crossing cyclists. Now, Delaware has seen a 23% decrease in crashes after such policies were enacted on. It has been proven that rather than implementing signage, designing safer roads prevents deadly accidents from happening, as well as increasing user awareness for their surroundings. There's numerous studies around the country. Now, I think you might know it as the Idaho Stop Law, I think that was called, where, cyclists can treat these stop signs as yield signs, which will allow for the flow of bicycles without losing their momentum. And so that is an important keynote to take away. Now, Safe Lovely, what is it? It is the future of Connecticut, the hope to rally behind here. A project unprecedented in this state and in fact the country. Its reach will affect tens of thousands of lives along the Farmington River, and in the future, millions. Everything we need is there. All we need to do is do it. So, let's work together and create a future we all dream of. Thank you.
Thank you, Mehmet.
Yeah, thank you.
If you don't mind, I think I'd like to open it up to see if any of our committee members have questions, if you're up to questions, Mehmet.
Of course.
Brian, I'll let you start if you have any.
I'm looking at the presentation. I really love what you put together. Thank you for that. I see a couple of things that have come up in our town council, which are just like operational things. Like I love the baskets. We do have hanging baskets, and we do have to maintain them, which means we have to water them every day. Have you given some thought to that? I'm not saying yes or no, or I don't like it or don't like it. I'm just wondering, have we figured out how to maintain that, or is that a factor that you might want to address when you give your presentation?
Well, with those flower baskets, the thing is, we can put a variety of things because as in the winter, nothing's going to grow, right? I mean, that's the way that it up. So possibly in the winter, we'll probably put, some stationary lighting or something. It's all, sidelines things that we can get done after we actually implement this project. But in terms of watering the plants, I would say if we're going to do this, we need, native plants, which would require barely any watering because they're already adapted to the local climate. And so that's how we would deal with it.
Okay, and you might also want to access the Rotary clubs in Avon and Farmington who have pollination programs going on, because they would support that in some
Actually,
capacity.
one thing we're doing is another with Bike Walk Avon. What we're doing is me and a couple of the other members. So we're actually going to be planting a huge section of native pollinators on the Farmington Valley Greenway very, very, very soon this April.
Lovely. Oh, I love that. Thank you. That was just one question I came up with. I'll open it up to the rest of the team as well.
I have a question. What are you going to do with those bollards in the winter when we need to move snow? Do they pop up so you can take them off?
Well, the thing is, with snow removal, most of the time, I mean, there are many different things that we can implement in terms of taking out the snow. Now, the thing with bicycles is that, actually, it's rather easy to traverse in wintertime. So it's not the same as, a heavy, huge 1,000-ton vehicles, as in with automobiles. So bikes, they require, bike lanes, they require less upkeep. But we would explore, certain amounts of ways that we can take the snow off of them. Yes.
Yeah, that's just one of just one of the things. I'm not quite sure where to begin here. First of all, I love the idea. So don't get me wrong, but the vast majority of design best practices wouldn't allow you to do. Well, let me back up. What would likely occur if a design study was done is a two-way cycle track on one side of 177, not on both sides. That would be the first thing, and the reason for that is that you would put in you wouldn't put in stanchions like you're showing, like metal bollards, and that would never fly. But you could do what they call delineators, which are made out of fiberglass. Those would work, and I've seen those done very successfully in a bunch of communities. I think the real problem is your crossings, which I don't think would, and the lane width. I don't think that would get through Connecticut DOT. I doubt they would do on a state highway anything less than 11 feet, and even that they might potentially balk at. So that's a big factor in only being able to do one side, right? If you did one side, which I think is potentially doable, then you've got a couple of other things. The traffic engineers would never allow raised tables on a through route. We see them in certain spots. There's raised tables being put in on the Canal Heritage Trail for certain crossings in northern New Haven and Hamden. That project is starting fairly soon, and that's going to be something of a test case for crossings, but on much less used roads. Through state routes, it's highly unlikely that you're going to see that happen. So really what I'm trying to say is that I think there's elements of this that could work. I think as a practical matter, you may find by the time it gets through Connecticut DOT and whatever consultants would need to be hired to actually design it, that it's not going to look like that. But I do think it's something that could potentially work, and it's a really very interesting idea because it's a major connector in the Farmington Valley. I think you've definitely got that correct. So I think ultimately, my response to this is that I'd keep working on this. I think it's a great idea. I think that a lot of this boils down to what Connecticut DOT would ultimately say regarding a medium to high speed, fairly high average daily volume state road. The traffic engineers in this state tend to get a little antsy when you're changing things dramatically. And so, and I'll just leave it at that. I want some other folks to chime in, but good work. I'm impressed.
Ron,
Ron, you're
wait,
muted.
So
Your
Bruce,
internet,
I think it would,
Yeah.
you were cutting out.
it would help if you kind of told him like who you
Couldn't hear the last
are,
part.
like your background. A bit.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sure.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Let's see. I've been building bike trails for 25 years. I was the president of the Farmington Valley Trails Council for 14 years. For the last 8 years, I have been the Southern New England manager for the East Coast Greenway Alliance. So I actually build bike trails for a living. And I'm on a bunch of boards. The biggest one is I was appointed by the governor to be the chairman of the Connecticut Greenways Council, and I've done that for the last 10 years. I was appointed in 2014, so I've got quite a bit of experience, as you can imagine, building things like this. So I guess that's my background.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on, guys.
Oh, do we lose him?
Looks like we lost him.
Hopefully, he can get back on.
Yeah, I mean, I hope he's not discouraged because
Well, I didn't want to
Like
crush
you
him.
said.
I didn't want to crush him, because
and you didn't.
it really is a cool idea.
Yeah,
I like the idea.
His screen was buffering quite a bit.
Okay, the just the idea of the connectivity, is what we talk about all the time. I would adopt him if he's fantastic. Putting that together, and here he is. All right, we can cut. There you go. You're back with us, right?
I think it's still frozen.
I'm having
Yeah, he's frozen.
internet trouble. I still can't hear everyone.
Oh, well, we
Okay.
can hear you. You know what you can do sometimes is turn your camera off, and you'll get a little more bandwidth.
There, how's that?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Boy.
Okay, so I guess I'll say something. So I think Bruce has given you like some really good guidelines to maybe look into through what, Bruce? Through DOT. Have you done that yet? As far as because just
I'm not
looking
sure
at the bollards.
Mamet is still buffering or not
Okay.
at the moment.
Yeah, I haven't heard him, but that'd be my response. For instance, I could put him in touch with some folks at DOT for
That's what I was hoping.
Yeah,
you
I
would say.
can do that. I can do that. I don't know what kind of response you'd get. But for instance, maybe what I would do is I would sponsor a meeting and do it with him.
Hmm.
Okay, so
Sure, that would be more than helpful.
yeah. So Bruce, if somehow you guys, if he can get your information,
Yeah,
then
I can coordinate all that, Bruce.
yeah. Dylan, just hook us up, and I'll see what I can do. Connecticut DOT has a relatively new, I think just 2 months old at the turn of the year, Office of Alternative Transportation, which is being run by Anna Bergeron. And I know her well. I've worked with her for 10 years. And I think we would at least get a hearing. We'll see. Well, because, the problem with redoing state routes, particularly through routes, because 177 is a through route, obviously, is that
Hello?
Hey,
welcome
there you
back.
are.
Alrighty, so I have not I did not hear anything for the past 5 minutes, so
then just to make it easy, I think, okay, so did you hear the part where Bruce is going to set up something where you and him will speak with? Go ahead, Bruce. explain it better than me.
Yeah, so I think that ideally, I'd like to try to get a meeting for you and I with Connecticut DOT and I think we'll try to get either the bicycle and pedestrian coordinator, who is Christopher. Hold on, I have his name right here. Christopher Roberts is the new bike ped coordinator for Connecticut DOT. He is under Anna Bergeron. I doubt we'd get Anna, but I think we could get Chris in a Zoom call and have you give this presentation and see what you get in response. And we'll kind of go from there. But I think that's a good next step.
Mr. Donalds, I was going to address some of the previous questions before, I timed out.
Oh, yeah.
With regards to the the bike lanes, right? Your first suggestion was talking about the inclusion of them on one side instead of both sides, right?
Yep.
So the thing is, the reason that I opted for the both-sided ones is because of the unique nature of Lovely Street, in the fact that most of the home, and most of the power lines are very close, which is why we only have a very narrow, amount of working space to work with, 2.5 feet, 4.5 feet, possibly on the medians, and maybe a foot or two on the lane, lessening the lanes. And so with that is that, that's the reason that we wouldn't be, I don't think, I mean, a 10-foot one would be very expensive and, highly undertaking, especially with regards to the power lines and, the property owners. Secondly, with regards to, this is a high to medium traffic area. The thing is, and it's a state road, as you called it, a state highway. The thing is, most of these trips, I mean, they're very local. They're very localized in terms of, having to go to the Canton shops, having to go to the stores on Route 44, having, to go to Collinsville, Unionville. That's what I've observed over my studies with, thousands of people in Avon, that I asked to, what they do, how they use Lovely Street. That's the answers that I got. They're very thoroughfares, right? They get from one place to the other in a short distance amount of time because they're very close. So the thing is, if we implement these bike lanes, right, I believe that it will lessen traffic to a huge degree in the fact that people will be using their bicycles to get to the areas that they want to go to instead of their cars. And in terms of the DOT allowing us to make these, stops and junctions, is the fact that, I mean, they should know that, some state highways, sure, that sometimes they go through Tolland County, Windham County, Hartford County, through, the rural back roads with no homes and no neighborhoods. The thing is, they've allowed our towns to be built up in such a way that we have housing and neighborhood and kids playing on these streets. And that when they try to treat it as a highway, which it practically isn't, right, this is where we get into troubles in terms of safety of people and the livelihoods of these children and everybody involved. And so that is the thing that the DOT should know about Lovely Street.
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir on that. I mostly agree with you. I think that the senior planners in the traffic division of Connecticut DOT might not agree with you.
Well, see,
that's my concern.
Can I just interrupt for 1 second? So I love what you're doing and I will back you on everything, but really the best thing right now is to just have that meeting that Bruce is going to set up, because everything that you're telling us, we would love it if that could happen. But we have to get realistic with what, the DOT will do. And I mean, Bruce is offering, like, this is huge for him to kind of take you under his wing on this and help you through the process to see what can be approved. Because everything that you're saying, we all want that. We all work for that. We fight for that. We wish for that. So I think maybe now the next step right now is to just hook up with Bruce, or Dylan was going to set up something, and then you're good to go. Step whatever. You're on to that next big step.
Yeah, I guess my big, and I'm gonna shut up right after this. And I know I see Andrew says his hand up too. I just want to manage expectations a little bit here. You know, there's certainly elements of this that I think are buildable. I do think that whenever you're doing this, it's a heavy lift with DOT because it's basically a rebuilding of a highway corridor. So, and it's also not going to be cheap. Be aware that similar facilities, it's what, 4.5 miles, I think you said?
Yes. The
So-
pricing,
Well, go ahead.
I checked, there were federal pricing on the lane.
Okay.
Platform.
I mean, there are numbers out there. It's minimum is something around $1.7 million a mile for this type of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't believe so, because the recent,
If
the
I
recent
may,
federal
it's
numbers
about
that
$1
would
million
really-
a mile for your standard concrete sidewalk.
Yep.
Hmm.
So
Around
and
here.
this would be a reconfiguring of lanes. So add about another $500,000 to $750,000 to
Yeah.
reconfigure the lanes, because that's what you'd have to do is reconfigure the lanes. So it's not a cheap project. That doesn't mean it can't be done. I mean, we're
Certainly
spending
worthwhile.
we're spending a ton of money on bike trails right now. So I've got $100 million in projects right now as we speak. So yeah, no, the money is not really the issue. The issue is whether they'll do it. But that's why we should try to talk to them. So let's try to do that.
Also,
Thank you, Bruce.
one thing I'd like to remind everyone is that we have a Secretary of Transportation that is very much up for all of this, right? So if we can, I mean, if, in the future, I would like to thank Mr. Donalds for, approaching with all this and giving me these wonderful insights for everything. And thank you all of you for this as well. Now, yes, we will, I hope to speak to the DOT very soon.
Good.
And the thing is, if we get mixed results from that, I am fully willing to go to the federals.
Yeah, that's a mixed bag. I think what you do is, and this is a subject for another time, but essentially what you do is that's the political route. That's so the commissioner of United States DOT, Mayor Pete there, has limited control over what the states do. What you do is you go to our congressional delegation. You'd go to Region 5 and maybe both of our senators and see what you could do there. But that's a long haul. That's a whole different kettle of fish.
But certainly worthwhile.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, certainly worthwhile.
It's doable. I mean, Plainville Plainville, New Britain just got $14 million in a federal raise grant for the trails. That's it's paying for part of the Southington Trail and more than half of the Plainville Trail.
In fact, actually, I have so I am in actually contact with State Senator Seminara, right, and our representative Eleni Calvert-Segura, in the fact that they are waiting actually, and they're in contact with some of our federal officials, in the fact that they're only waiting for our towns to issue their designation of approval for our project. And so from there, we can march on in multiple different lanes. We can go to the DOT. We can also
We're losing you,
the
buddy.
federal government in such ways. So I've been preparing, for the final. Oh boy. Here, did everyone hear what I said?
I got
I
most
think
of
we got the
Mostly, yeah.
gist of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so Brian, as a practical matter, do we want to try to get a meeting with DOT to at least see about the feasibility of this before the town weighs in? What's your feeling on that?
About whether we could do that?
Yeah, well, about I mean, I think what he's asking is, is the town interested in this type of a project?
Oh, I know the town is interested in it. Whether the feasibility of that is a different thing, but I know that there is interest in what we're already trying to accomplish. This would just be another opportunity for us to make Farmington a little more connected with the valley and a little more connected with commerce and certainly safer for other people. So it's something that I would fully support. And I know another number of people on the council would support it. But I think to your point, there needs to be some clearer details for people to respond to, because I think there are a couple of things that people might be concerned about that they might need more information on, such as the bollards and the raised flags and what DOT has to say about that, because they really are the ones who with final say.
Well, yeah, I mean, as a practical matter, the design component of this is, in many ways, not even in our hands. The concept of trying to do this corridor. Absolutely, right? I mean, that's really what we're talking about. I think that the design element tends to take care of itself in the process of hiring the consultants and, getting all that done through DOT. I'm less concerned about that aspect of it right now and more concerned about whether it's even buildable, right? I mean, I guess
Right.
that would be, that's really number one.
But to ask for support for exploring about it, that's certainly doable. Because it sounds like you've gotten support from what you said, Avon, correct?
Yes, our chairman fully supports us. I've been talking with Mr. Robertson, Brandon. He's fully in line with our goals, right? All the councilmen, and as I said, our state representatives. And so all we really need is all of our towns supporting us, and so with that official support, right from there we can march on and get our funding, right? Get our designs done, because I mean all the designs, as we talked about, as it's all, we can all change it, right? As long as it's feasible, as long as we have the capacity to build it, we can hammer out any details that we need to, right? Everything is up to change as long as we get a safe bike lane that connects all of our towns. That is the primary goal.
So Brian, is the next step to have this gentleman speak to the town council and get approval there, and we can take a vote as our committee, advisory committee, whether we want to promote this or support this. And I think I'm hearing everybody does.
Yeah, I believe we could put something together. That would be our next step. Would you say that, Dylan?
Yeah. I have to speak with Kathy about this. She wanted an
I was going to
update.
say she's the next person we have to talk to.
Yeah. So, Brian, I'll keep in touch with you and I'll update you as soon as I speak with her tomorrow or.
Sure. And I don't know that, with the fact that we don't have our next council meeting till next week, we'd have to schedule a time for Mehmet to come down and speak with us, which might be a couple of weeks away since we're getting into our budget.
Your budget season. It might be more of a March, April thing for the
That's
council.
what I'm thinking, just knowing what's coming up.
Yeah, and that's my thought. Again, I'm not the staff liaison for the council. I believe it's more Kathy's realm than mine. So let me.
I would be happy to do that.
Yeah, and Brian, I can loop you into the conversation as well.
Please, yeah, that would be great.
And if Kathy had any questions for me, I've known her for years. Just tell her to call me.
You are our resident expert in all things bike and trail everything, for lack of better words. Now, Andres, I saw your hand up for a little bit. I think you're still mute. You're not showing as mute, but we can't hear you. Unless that's just me.
Is your
Nope.
mic enabled? It's
Is the correct
Can't hear
mic enabled? Under audio settings.
no, still can't hear you.
I have something while he's trying to find that. Is
Oh,
this
there you
part-
are.
You got me?
Yep.
Yep.
You're
Okay,
in.
great. All right, so you didn't hear me yelling at Eli to be quiet.
Nope.
So a couple points. Mehmet, I love the presentation. I think it's really well done. It's very professional and really gets the message across. I think this, if we can make this happen, this could be a fantastic example and a template to use across the region. Because the biggest challenge that we've had for, the last decade hasn't been getting a bike path, hasn't been getting north and south, on the existing bike paths or getting little things done. It's getting any kind of progress done on state routes. So this has been, the biggest challenge we've had because of DOT. They don't have the same vision that we do, although things are changing. And I think if something like this gets pushed through, a study could be made, and this could be an example of, how to do things in other regions. We desperately need to do the same thing on Route 4, to get east and west, to connect up to West Hartford, to connect to New Britain. Because these bike paths that are just islands don't really accomplish the same as having interconnected bike paths where you can get places. So I think, it's going to be a ton of work, but if we can get DOT to move forward with this, it would be huge. I saw on the video, the guardrails, they usually put the guardrails where there is a slope down, and they have to protect a car from going off the side of the road. When I see that, and I know that we've got to widen the road by 5 or 10 feet, in my mind, that means a ton of excavation work, retaining walls, piers, wooden boardwalks, something like that. So that's going to be probably one of the most challenging parts, is addressing those areas. I'm not sure of what the town right-of-way or state right-of-way is for that, but I mean, with the project cost that Dylan mentioned of, basically, $2.5 million a mile, all said and done, it's a very expensive project. So you can probably have those power lines moved. You could, those mailboxes will be moved. There's no way that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to deliver mail, because the mailman's not going to be driving down the bike path.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey, in Paris, they use bicycles.
Yeah.
They're
There
delivering
we
the mail.
go.
Yeah. Well, they're not good.
I like it.
I like it too. Yeah. So a standard width for a higher speed highway, with a side path. So what we're really talking about, a side path, is 36 to 42 feet minimum. And that's like an AASHTO requirement. And then you're running into federal highway rules. And so that's why we have to talk to DOT.
Yeah, so it's gonna be challenging. I'm not familiar like Dylan would be with, how a road gets designated as state highway, but I'm guessing it's number of cars daily and plus average speed. And with the volume that you've got there, Mehmet, it'd be interesting to find out how much is local traffic. You're asking people in Avon, that would get on that road to get somewhere, versus how much would be through traffic. Those trucks aren't coming from Avon, but they're probably driving from Route 4 to get up to 44. As we get more development in the Farmington Valley, we're just getting more and more and more traffic. If anybody's been on Route 4 getting home from work from 84, you're in stop and go traffic from, almost all the whole day.
Yep.
for a couple of
Yep.
miles, and it's just what it is. You know, we're choosing not to put highways going through Farmington, you know, but instead we have, you know, traffic jams. But there's nothing we can do when there's that volume of traffic, other than, you know, talk to your company
Yeah.
and work from home.
And actually,
So,
Andres, you bring up the point that I was going to make, the last point I was going to make, which is this isn't so much about cars; it is in fact about trucks. You can't do 10-foot lanes for most classes of trucks because they can't turn at intersections. So it's got to be a minimum of 11, and really they like 12. But Connecticut DOT has expressed an interest in going to 11-foot lanes and then painting out wider shoulders where they can. And in fact,
Yeah.
they've done that a few times for us as well in town here, with some success. But it's like pulling teeth to get them to do it, you know?
Bruce, wouldn't, I mean, if you're talking to the DOT already, would it make sense to come up with an interconnection task force? You know, because we can do things within our own town, but we have a hard time working with DOT. But if there's, you know, some kind of a task force in DOT, say, hey, you know, what do we need to, how do we prioritize connections? You know, and, you know, to Avon, to West Hartford, things like that.
Yeah.
You know, especially, you know, it's great that Buttigieg is throwing billions around for this, but that's across the whole country. And when it gets down to Connecticut, it gets down to millions. And then, you know, we've got, you know, what, 169 towns that want a piece of those millions. You know, it's,
yeah, and in fact, it's worse than that because we've got, you know, 2,000 bridges that need to be redone.
yeah.
And you know, it's actually not. It's worse than what you think it is.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's that component of it. I will say this: with the formation, just in the last couple of months, of this new active transportation, you know, concept within DOT, it's forming now. And I had a meeting with Bike Walk Connecticut and DOT on this very subject about what is this going to look like? What's the interrelationship with not just advocacy groups like Bike Walk Connecticut or this group, but actually with the towns themselves.
Mhm.
Got the fire department's going by. And I don't think they've quite figured that out yet, but the answer is I think they're going to try. So, you know, it's DOT in the last 10 years has become much more interested in trying to work on active transportation, which is what this is. And so we'll see. You know, I don't have a firm answer for you on that, but it's worth discussing for sure.
Yeah, and Mehmet, I'm glad you're doing it. And I'm wondering, when you talk to DOT, if it's possible to get either traffic numbers from Avon, Farmington, Canton, and also try to come up with an estimate of, you know, what the rider and walker base would be. You know, if we're using it for transportation, it's probably not going to be walkers, you know, it's going to be bicyclists. You know, how many, you know, dozens or 100 people a day would this be? You know, try to interest DOT in saying, okay, you know, this will take this many cars off the road, and, you know, get all the, you know, pats on the back that you can, you know.
Right.
Well,
exactly.
they've got. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's what I wanted to address, right? You know, with the concerns that, you know, it's high speed, high traffic. The thing is, I mean, from my own personal surveys that we carried out, is that we see that, I mean, overwhelmingly, all the people that use, you know, Lovely Street, they're just trying to get to their groceries, you know, bring their kid to school. All of this, it will allow us to dramatically, you know, curb the amount of vehicles on the road. And so that'll allow for the easing of traffic, easing of congestion. That'll allow for these furrow trucks to move even quicker than usual, right? And it'll also be done safer with these new improvements. And so not only will this relieve congestion for the whole Farmington Valley, right? This will get people active and moving, right? And getting people to these new businesses that would, I mean, honestly, in Unionville, right? For example, with you all in Farmington, I see. I mean, there's many buildings in Unionville that are just vacant right now or waiting for occupants. But imagine the economic impact of this wonderful new bike lane coming up and hundreds and thousands of people using it to get there.
That would be nice. Unless we have any other comments, it sounds like we have two firm action items on our list, unless I missed one, but I'm thinking one of them is Dylan, for you and I to connect with Kathy to see when it's possible to get Memic on, in front of the town council so he can give a presentation. That's one of our action items. And the other is to connect him with Bruce for a potential meeting with the DOT to get some more information about what are some of the requirements and things that you need to know in moving forward with the presentation. Does that sound fair, or did I miss something?
Yeah, we'll figure out the next steps with Kathy in
Yep.
terms of crafting some kind of letter or something of the same nature for support of the proposed project. And then, Bruce, if you're still up for that, connecting you and Mehmet to start working with the DOT and the town for a little bit further in workshopping this and refining this to something that the DOT's palate may just bite at.
Yeah, I'm happy to make those introductions and certainly join you in the first meeting and pave the way and see what they say. I'm cautiously optimistic. I can't really say any more than that because they got a lot of stuff going on, and they're DOT. I think I'm going to put you in the arms of sympathetic people there, but they aren't the people that are actually going to be making the decisions regarding a state route. That's a different group of people, and so we'll see where this goes.
Yeah.
I would say that as a group, we applaud, number one, your efforts, the work you put into the presentation, the work you put into creating a whole community of supporters that are behind you. And I would hope that we would, and I'm pretty sure that we would be hopefully considered part of that group that would support you in what you're doing. We'd love to see that happen as well, to become more bike friendly and safer. It's kind of our goal as well. So thank you for coming to us.
Thank you.
Did you walk away with what you wanted?
Of course. I mean, I love to meet, everybody in our valley and get people to support us. And, we are all the bright minds that will change our valley for forever, right? This will be I think, a groundbreaking project for the next decade to come. And I believe if we get this done quick enough, right? Because I am willing and prepared to expedite the process tremendously. Now, here's actually something I was just reading recently, right? So in British Columbia, right, in Canada, what they're doing is their DOT is actually expedited many of the bike lanes that they're building. So instead of the usual, 2 years or 3 years that would take them, they actually have built, 22 miles of bike lanes in 6 months, right?
Wow.
And so if we can find the proper legislative processes, I believe this project will be done by the time before I leave high school.
Ooh, that's aggressive. But I love the idea.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing, for future connections. So I have an Instagram page. I have a YouTube page, right? I have a Facebook page. Here, you can find me under. So for the Instagram and the Facebook, it is under m.g.gokcen, where I published my documentaries, my our meetings with the towns and our campaign, right? Our public outreach campaign, which I have under our numerous social media sites. If you wish to further.
Have you shared that with Dylan?
Mehmet, can you also just paste that in the chat?
I think I have it. Yeah.
Am I able to paste it? I think I am. Here,
You should be able to as a panelist. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you pop that in there, and thank you for sharing that. All right, unless we have any other questions, I'm thinking we should move on with the rest of our agenda. if you guys are
Sounds
ready
good.
to
Let's,
move on.
let's do it, Brian.
All right. And remember, when you pop that in there, we'll copy it and that way we'll have it. Thanks for sharing that.
All right. Thank you, Mehmet. Great job.
Have a good one. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, why don't we move on to our old business and we'll start with number 1 and talk about the jug handle application. See how that's going.
Yeah, so since that's more of my update, just so everyone's aware, I'm still working with our consultant. I have a meeting with them tomorrow about a different application. But this application will certainly come up. I received an email this afternoon from them as well about this application, that they are starting to work on things. And we have a little bit more workshopping to do in terms of narrowing down scope and getting things finalized before they are able to go ahead and do what they need to do so that we can apply for X number of funds as part of this grant under a realistic scope of work as well for a planning grant. So we're still working on that pretty thoroughly, and then also working on letters of, sorry, lost my train of thought. Letters of
Oh, letters, support letters, yeah,
support. Thank you.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and we're working on letters of support from CROG. I've already had a meeting with one of their lead transportation engineers, Roger Cron, and I should be getting in touch with some of their other staff later this week and next week. To further
As
that.
soon as you've got a blurb, what you should do is get out a prototype letter. Just, quick, a couple blurbs on what it is and what you're asking for. Mike D'Amico would certainly do a letter. You should have, we should get some politicians involved. The East Coast Greenway will certainly write a letter for this. And we'll see who else we can get. But the more letters, the better. It scores better.
Okay, we'll work on that. Thank you, Bruce.
Mehmet, thank you for everything. I got all your links. And I can share with the group.
Thank you then. I'm wishing everyone to have a good night. I'll be signing off.
Thank you so long.
Thanks again.
All right.
That's a determined young man.
Indeed. So yeah, the application on my side of everything is, we're still working on it. I don't think anyone else had any action items for that, so I think we can move on to item number 2.
What's the timeline on that, would you say?
I think by the end of the month.
Yeah, it's due March 11th, I think.
Yeah.
March
I think by the
11th.
end of the month, we'll be in a good spot, Brian.
Okay, no, just checking.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you for getting that done.
Yep.
Okay, our next item. So we've got our working on with CROG on letters of support.
Yep. Yeah, so again, in speaking with Roger, he thinks that I mean, he's happy to write a letter as well, but he thinks a letter from Matt Hart, the executive director, is probably the best way to go in terms of CROG, but if I wanted one, I could get one from Roger as well, probably.
Is Matt a possibility also?
Yeah. Yep, Matt's certainly in play as well. I have to speak with Elizabeth Sanders, who is one of their not a program manager, but she does a lot of the federal and state funded programs apart from LOTCIP, and other programs that I typically use. But I have worked with Elizabeth quite a bit on the SS4A grant that we applied for last year, so I know her well.
I'm glad you're connected.
No.
Anything else on that, or should we move on to the bike league application update?
No, yeah, no, that's it. We can move on. Sorry.
No, just checking.
Yeah.
I don't like to cut anyone off, but I do want to keep us moving if we can. That's
Yeah,
all.
of course. No worries, Brian.
Bike league application.
Yeah.
So we've been working on it, Carolyn, Lily, and myself. So a couple months ago, so there's so many little things I have to check off, and so I'm just gonna go through some that's stuck in my head. Bicycle friendly businesses. Few months ago, every month I've been asking, can any of you find some businesses or no businesses that we can get it involved? And I don't want to sound whiny, but has anybody come up with anything for that?
I think Big Sky at Valley Fitness would be great.
Okay,
I don't
so
know.
we need so when you guys mention the name of a place, I can't get in touch with each one of them. I need
No,
help
but is
with
that
people.
somebody, so from what I understand, our charter is to guide the town. Is that and I know everyone's resources are really stretched thin. Brian, is there somebody from the town that we can have do the outreach? Or maybe an internship program with a poli-sci student or something like that?
There's not that I know of from my perspective. I don't know if you know of any, Dylan, but I don't think it hurts if one of us at least knows someone that we might at least reach out to. You know, it doesn't hurt to utilize the power right here in this committee, at least for a connection, so that we're just not cold calling people.
Yeah.
That if we know, if they said, well, Brian said to call, so, I'd be happy to speak with you. I'd love to be able to leverage, what we bring to the table.
Yeah. Coming from someone official at the town might carry more weight too.
Oh, no, I know,
Yeah.
but if we use both, say if we were to ask someone from the town, I just could use you as an example, Dylan. If Dylan said I'll call, but who do you know that I can talk to? And he can say, Andre said for me to give you a call that you would be interested in this or supportive of this, or might be interested in what we have to say. That gives us a real, some leverage to talk to them about something rather than just a cold call asking for something.
Yeah.
The other one too is what about the police department? That's got all the facilities. That should be an easy one.
Right.
Do
I
municipality
guess my
buildings
point
count?
is that I need help like reaching out, and I don't think we put this on the town per se. I'll stop right there.
Because it's a bike league application.
It just
Yeah.
it helps with the application. We don't have any. I think Bruce would agree to at least be able to check that off would be pretty big.
Yeah, Ron, Patty had given us the name of somebody at Trump, and I said I'd send him an email back in December, and then life got in the way. But that's still on my list of things to do. So
that would be a big one. If we get Trump, then we go
Yeah.
into other places and say, well, we have Trump.
yeah,
Who's
so I'll try to
round
get that
so-
done, before we meet again.
And
know,
then, go ahead.
I'm just going to say, Neil, if you've got a letter or an email that you're sending out, is that something we could, leverage as a template to share with other people to send to people that we know? Oh,
Yep, I've got.
Oh, you've got that. You got
Well,
that?
I've got something that's probably not as I've got like a template. I've cut and paste from why it's important to be a bike friendly business.
Yeah.
I've taken it from the League of American Bicyclists website. I just need to finalize it, and then
Okay,
I'll send it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking if we have one message that would be consistent that we could send to different people from different people, but the messaging is consistent across the board, that might be helpful all around.
Yep. Okay.
And easy to share and a lot easier on us because we may not all be able to pen an email, but we can certainly, copy and paste and maybe customize it a little bit and send it to someone we know.
Mhm.
There's no harm in it.
Right.
Yeah,
I
Ron,
think
maybe you can
this-
work with Dylan to send that to all
Yeah.
of us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Your
Ron,
template, yeah.
Ron, once you have it finalized, send it to me, and Brian, I may bounce it off of you to see if you have any revisions, and then we'll go from there. Seeing as you're a representative of the town council.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
And I'll get support from folks, on the council and share it with
Yeah.
them as well.
Yep. And then yeah, once we have that finalized, Ron, I'll share it with everyone, and if you have a name of someone that is at a business, I would encourage you to send it to them on the group's
Yeah.
behalf.
And it doesn't matter what size they are either.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I am trying to put into words, not trying, I kind of have it, the benefits of a smaller place. Like, I don't know why I always forget the names of these places. The new coffee shop.
Daily Grind.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other one. at the other end.
Yeah, Bruno's is the other one.
Yeah, so businesses like that, but I have to make it attractive to them. So I'm gonna offer, that we feature them on our Facebook page, our website that is being built right now. And just
Is that something you do free of charge, Ron?
So for $50 application fee for the smaller businesses, I believe it's 50 people and under, but
Yeah.
that will be all part of the information that I'll send out.
Very good.
What would it cost for the police department? I mean, I don't necessarily envision, when you say the word business, I see, we're not a business, so to speak.
Right.
We're a organization, which is also part of the town, something that I could bring to the chief. And when you're saying that cost, is that the cost that goes towards the bicycle, the league, basically?
It goes, maybe Bruce knows, it goes to the League of American Bicyclists.
Yeah,
so
it's just the application fee. Yeah, it's $50 across the board. And just so you're aware, there's a number, Yale University is silver, I think, with the League of American Bicyclists. And so universities do it, and there's a bunch of police, town and city police organizations that have done it successfully. Mostly, Jeff, because they've got some bicycle cops and they're involved in the community. I think it'd be a slam dunk, quite frankly. I mean, I
have no problem. I have no problems, going to the chief and selling it to the chief. I wasn't sure we were talking about, something in terms of support for what the committee's doing, or if it was an actual league thing. I'm familiar with the league, having been a member of them since they were the League of American Wheelmen.
Which is a while now. Yeah,
it's been a while. So if that's what you're talking, I can easily get that off the website from the league. I'm not sure if there's anything specific for that, but I'll look into that. It won't happen this week, but it will definitely happen next week.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. Because if you go on the website, the application's right there.
Yep, I'm familiar with that.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you so much. That's exactly what I'm hoping will happen with our group. So also so here's what I want to suggest right off is that we have just one Zoom meeting.
Thanks, Dylan.
Just so we can just so we can go through the application quickly, what we've done already, because there are a lot of things that I may have missed that you guys may be able to help fill in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, having a special meeting just to go over the application, because this is a big deal.
And it would probably, not right now, it would probably, because we're only on maybe C or D of wherever it goes. But I just want everyone to see, and actually, if you can go to that application this week and just look at all the little boxes, and obviously they all don't need to be checked, but there are some things there that we don't even think about. That we haven't even thought, most people don't think about daily. So
Ron,
anyway,
is that something that we can bang out in like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, 3 hours in 2 weeks? If we schedule like, say in 2 weeks from now, like on a Wednesday night, or?
probably less than that, because
Yeah.
we've gone through a lot of it. There's just some things, and I did make notes, and I cannot find them. I was going to go through some of the things. And I do have a few notes here of things we have talked about. So let me just go through that. The social media presence. So right now we can go through Bike Walk Farmington, but I was asking everyone for articles too. Just like a blog type article that you can write about your specialty. You know, like Matt riding in, you know, or Rich, you know, riding to work in a snowstorm, or how to clean your bike, or just like personal type blog type articles. They don't have to be long, but I just need to keep that pipeline going. And I think it would help. We have some great, obviously, cyclists on, you know, right here. And I'm not just saying this because we've been talking about it, but wayfinding signage, neighborhood signage there's some check marks there for it. Also, Bruce, you can maybe able to speak to this. It's the Safe Routes to School audit. I guess we can get that done through the state,
Yep.
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there's a newly reconstituted office, a Safe Routes to School office within Connecticut DOT. And I've got her name somewhere. In fact, I was going to mention that. Bear with me here.
So then I should get in touch with her, correct?
Yes, you should.
Okay.
I'll get her name to you. She's
Okay.
I thought it was here, but it's not. But she's relatively new and she's great. I've talked to her.
Okay, so also people who are trained now, Jeff, obviously you've got all this type of training. So April 27th, the Farmington Valley Trails Council, we are holding the Smart Cycling course, which is the prereq for becoming an LCI, League Certified Instructor. So I'll give you more information as it comes, but I think all of us should have that course, even if we think we know everything, because everything jives with, you know, the guidelines of the League of American Wheelmen. So that's a safe cycling course. The April 27th. They also emphasize partnerships. So we really haven't reached out to other civic groups. I had the Farmington Watershed, I believe. They were Farmington River Watershed.
Amy Petrus's group.
Yes.
Yeah, I know her.
So they were sending me things to put on the website, but and I was posting them. But if we can connect with other groups, I think it just helps to. I still think a lot of people don't know about our efforts, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I'm seeing that.
Are there particular types of groups that you're looking to partner with?
Well, I think there's someone here who's is it the Rotary Club or
Rotary is one, certainly, yeah.
Rotary. I mean, that can be a partnership, right?
Absolutely. We
And
can actually
Neil,
do a speaking
possibly-
engagement there.
Say that again?
We can do a speaking engagement there.
That would be excellent. And Knights of Columbus, just anything that you can think of, any club, any organization in town. All right, losing my track here a little bit. I'm gonna try to do this quick. Oh, also, our DOT drivers, have they had a bike safety specific driving course? I'm gonna say probably not.
I wouldn't
And-
be able to answer that.
Okay, and there's a person sitting here with his headphones on who did the most amazing presentation I've seen. So we have the resources, and I think we should reach out to DOT and try to set something up. Even if we do a video, Matt, you and I can partner together and maybe do a video, huh?
Which program is this? I'm not sure what you're talking about.
So this is the bike safety. So the driver safety course. Actually, what's her name in Simsbury and Amy Watkins came up with a course.
Oh, well, Amy Watkins has a course. It's not a DOT course. But they're
But I'm saying for DOT for our drivers, for our Farmington DOT drivers.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, now I
Farmington
understand.
I'm sorry.
Our Public Works drivers.
Public Works you're
Yes,
talking about.
yes.
I didn't
I'm so
understand.
sorry.
Oh,
For
okay.
the guys that drive around in the big trucks.
Okay, now I
Say
understand.
Farmington.
Yes, I got it. I got it.
Oh,
I'll say
I'm
that if
sorry.
you guys could put something like maybe a video or a PowerPoint presentation that I could go over briefly, like I'm talking like 5-ish minutes, I could potentially add it to our environmental training that we have on April 3rd this year.
Okay, 5 minutes.
Just some quick points. No?
It can't be. It can't be 5 minutes.
It's got to be interactive. You have to be talking to the people. If you're not, you're wasting your time.
All right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Just a thought. How long would you guys need?
What did it take us?
I think
over
what Ron, what did we do? We did about what was it, about 15 minutes, right?
Yeah,
20
about
minutes?
15
I'll
minutes.
say it
and
was a
then
half
some
hour.
questions. With
Oh,
questions.
Neil was there.
That was with questions and
Yeah.
answers over at Sanford and Holly.
Yeah.
But the presentation itself was 15 minutes.
And
Sanford
it was
Holly loved it.
and it was very well received. I think it opened a lot of eyes. So yeah, I'd recommend doing that with the town drivers and other businesses in town, you know, that have trucks on the road.
Yeah.
It's a nice value add.
All right, I'll speak with Jim Rosebasin, our superintendent.
You know, that's something you could offer businesses if they choose to be a sponsor, you know, the bicycle friendly group that we were just talking about.
Maybe we can make some money off it. Huh,
Bicycle
man?
friendly business.
Okay. So I just wanted to follow up. I know it's winter time, but has the signage, so the signage has been approved for through the flats, right? And the 3 feet to pass.
Not approved yet, but I can
Oh.
bring it to the next meeting, I guess, or the meeting after that.
Okay. I thought it was I think last meeting you said it was all set, but
You know,
okay.
I'll go back in my
You
notes. and
can't
maybe
see
I
it, it's
did.
under the snow.
Yeah.
No, right. I know it can't get done until it warms up, but
Yeah,
is there a
right.
way we can take, is there a way you and I can go on a field trip and kind of,
Yeah, if you want to be a part of picking out the physical locations, absolutely, Ron.
I would love to.
Okay.
That would be our
Then we
second
will-
field trip together.
Yes, you and I will have a field trip.
All right. Okay. I just wanted to add this. Names, so again, the people park their cars and then they wind up somewhere and they're asking like where this certain parking lot is. We don't have any names for the parking lots. Can't we just do a little drop down sign that has like the name of the crossing road? So each parking area has a name. Because nobody knows what to call the big one with the pavilion. There's just no names to those areas.
Yeah, we had a bike ride where we were, doing the long loop around to Unionville and ran into a woman that was looking for her car and she couldn't remember where she parked. And we're trying to just figure out what she's talking about and couldn't. And so she was riding back with us and basically checking each parking lot, be like, oh, there it is. And it was one of the lots along New Britain. And
So,
having a name by the, where you go from the parking lot onto the street, the Ron Gorowski parking lot, and then I parked at
just the name of
Gorowski.
the street.
exactly, the Gorowski spot. I was going to say, no, I was going to say, the Farmington Valley Trails Council on their mapping has them all laid out, including GPS coordinates for them all. So let's not
They have
read.
names?
Well, they're kind of named, so like, the big one, well, actually there's two, I suppose, with pavilions, because there's the one over going toward Canton as well. That's on the
Brickyard's
river
got
trail.
one.
Yeah, that's on the river trail. But so they are kind of, named ad hoc, basically, where they are, right? So the big one on New Britain Avenue is called the New Britain Avenue parking lot. But there's also a little lot further up that
Right.
almost nobody uses that we should figure out.
Yeah, we
how
can
to-
call it New Britain Ave South or North, whatever direction.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So, but that's a good idea. I like that idea. But don't reinvent the wheel. All of the coordinates and what have you are already on Farmington Valley Trails Council's website. So
Here,
Nice.
I'll share the link.
But it would be nice to have a name with them too, wouldn't it?
Yeah, they call it out by town parking area, which is typically just the adjacent road, and then it gives you a street address.
No.
Yeah,
Yep.
check it out. Oh, it didn't send yet. Hold on.
It's not. There we go.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause
check it
we-
out.
because we did that work in coordination with the maps that they publish every year.
Yeah,
and-
so you know
and-
what, Ron? Maybe that's something that we could bring up to the Farmington Trails Council. Canal Heritage Trail and the River Trail and Rails to Trails Council.
Who put the parking signs in?
The towns do.
Probably us, but
Yeah, no, the town did.
yeah.
Yeah.
The signs are very, very expensive.
Yeah, they're brutal.
They're
the
very expensive.
Yeah,
they
last-
would make your head spin.
The last I
I'm
knew,
just
the little ones are obviously cheaper, but
Yeah.
the big oval signs are last I knew, Dylan, I think they were 13 grand a piece.
I was gonna say at least 10, so that sounds about right to me.
Yeah, no,
Maybe
they're not cheap.
15
They're not
now.
cheap. They are
Yeah.
not cheap. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's something that we can do, Ron, as the signs get replaced. Obviously, and for now, maybe it's just something that we get printed on a sheet of aluminum, a small rectangular piece, similar to the four-way sign that you see under a stop sign, something
Yeah.
like
Yep.
New
Yeah.
Britain Ave
Mhm.
South lot. whatever.
think that's perfect. All right. All right, so he spent a lot. Oh, can we schedule a ribbon cutting for the Lily bike rack in the spring?
Yeah, when is she ready to do it?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, as soon as she's done with it, yeah, we can schedule something. That's not a problem.
Okay, cool. All right, I just wanted to say again that sidewalks are not a victory for safe bicycling. So I've been hearing, oh, we have sidewalks down whatever road. That's great for cycling, but no, it's great for walking. I don't even know if I want to bring this up. I'm not gonna. All
I
right.
agree with you 100%, Ron, that we've got to stay away from sidewalks being cycle paths. That's a really dangerous thing to set, because every time you cross an intersection, every time you cross a driveway, that's another conflict area. I think, like Bruce had said earlier, narrowing the lanes a little bit, giving the cyclists a little more space on the right makes a huge difference in how the riders can use them. Just my opinion.
Yeah, well, I mean, most municipalities have a ban on bicycles on sidewalks anyway. The vast majority of them do. So
What's that?
Sidewalks, bicycles are not allowed on sidewalks in most towns and cities.
I don't know if it's most, Bruce, because I did a little. I called around, or I looked at I know Simsbury for sure, and they were trying to get rid of that because you do lose some of your, connectivity.
But
Yeah.
the thing is, a cyclist is a vehicle.
Yes.
You shouldn't be on the sidewalk with a vehicle.
Yes.
Think about somebody on an e-bike doing 25 miles an hour down a sidewalk. That's why you ban
Right.
bikes on sidewalks.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. But that in fact, the rule of law on that is in fact exactly what Matt just said. It is bicycles to the rule of law are cars. They're vehicular. Whereas the pedestrian is a pedestrian. They have a different set of laws.
All right, so here's where I chime in.
Oh yeah, good.
But unfortunately, so the state law allows you to ride a bicycle both on the roadway and on a sidewalk. You can be a pedestrian on a bicycle. You can be a vehicle on a bicycle. Right now, currently how it's written. Certain towns have ordinances.
Yep.
I know West Hartford has one, but it's only for the center area.
Yeah, the downtown.
As far as I know, they haven't expanded it because there's literally sidewalks on both sides of the streets on most roads in West Hartford. I don't know of Farmington having one. I don't think they do.
I don't think so.
So I think Hartford has some of it, but Hartford doesn't enforce it.
Yeah, Hartford.
We recently had a rule. We recently had a complaint over by Route 10 Miss Porter's of somebody going, what the pedestrian thought was fast. So I had to, the chief obviously calls me in for all these kind of things because I've been involved with it for so long.
Right.
And unfortunately, there's not a lot you can do with that. We, as a cyclist instructor, I've often taught people, hey, if your kid's going really slow and whatnot, sidewalk, doesn't have a lot of control. Sidewalk ends up being the safest place for the kid, generally. But if you're trying to go from place to place, and as a person becomes an adult and you're riding faster, you want to operate as a vehicle. Now you want to be on the roadway as you start to go faster and you're more controlled. You have sights. You're able to see 360. Kids view things through a straw. That's because that's the way they're preloaded until they get to be older. They don't have field of vision like adults do. There's a whole bunch of different things for reasons for kids to be off the roadway as opposed to on the roadway. But that's a whole nother thing. So Legally, though, right now, they can do both things for cyclists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did misspeak a little bit, Jeff. Most of those ordinances are urban. They're mostly the cities.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
because
Mostly
I know
urban. You don't see it out this way, though.
no. Mostly it's not suburban. But I know, for instance, New Haven does enforce it, or at least they try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see it.
Um,
I know
yeah.
Simsbury has one area, and that's on Iron Horse Boulevard.
Yes.
And they've since done a lane where they try to keep, if you're gonna ride through and you're a through cyclist, they want you to be on Iron Horse, not on the sidewalk. And so you run into those conflicts.
Yep. And in fact, that's how Simsbury got around it. They put a bike lane on the road.
Right.
And that's actually part of the trail, that sidewalk
It is.
is part of the trail. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's actually part of the East Coast Greenway. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a common thing. I mean, mixed use trails end up being more dangerous for cyclists. MDC has struggled with it because, they've since done bike lanes on their paved areas and things like that. But if you use it, you'll then go and see that if you're trying to stick to your lane, and then that's maybe 1/3 of the entire lane, the little old ladies will walk in your lane, and if you say anything to them, they get angry about that. So it's they don't want to.
Oh,
they
yeah.
want the whole thing, even though they're in the lane. So, but a whole nother thing. I digress. For it's a long meeting, but there's your answer for my experience anyway.
Yeah. No,
Thanks
that's
for that.
yeah. No, that's exactly right. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
more like continuous education.
Yeah. So, okay, let me just, what time is it? All right, one thing, Dylan,
Yep.
everybody. So, okay, so when I started on this committee, I was like, I would hear the town attorney, we can't do this because the town attorney and the liability, blah, blah, blah. And I would have to go back to the old meetings and see what those were. But I'm wondering what the liability is for not having crosswalks across to join the trail at two of our businesses that I've talked about in the past. We told them verbally that we would not put the crosswalks there, but
Yep.
it's a clear danger without them. It would be like, okay, a verbal, I mean, I'm in real estate. There's no verbals. This is a safety issue. This should be the town going back to each owner and putting the crosswalks in. Because it's part of the greenway. It's joining two trailheads together. And there's no crosswalks there. It's a danger.
All right,
It's liability.
so the first question is: are these town roads or state roads?
No. Oh, the roads themselves?
The roads
Because
themselves.
It's part of the trail.
No, it doesn't matter.
No. It's
It's a
part
driveway.
It's part of the driveway. It's not
Driveway.
part of the trail.
Oh, driveways. That's not even the same conversation.
Yep.
Okay. Now I understand.
Every driveway has a crosswalk. I rode the whole trail.
Yeah, but they don't have to. I mean, unless the town of Farmington wants to make an ordinance saying that they're required to, they don't have to.
Right. They don't have to, but
Well, I mean, that's how it works.
Yeah,
And
you
if
don't have
the-
a
and if
leg. You don't have a leg to stand on unless it's an actual road. If it's a driveway, it's a private driveway.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about roads. That's a different matter.
no, I'm talking
But-
about Bruce, I'm talking about the same two crosswalks that we've been talking about. At
Yeah.
EM and
Yeah,
the
no,
other one.
No, you can't make a landowner paint their asphalt. You can't do it.
So that's part of so where the trail, where you have to cross over, that part of the driveway, we can't say anything about it.
Correct.
We have, definitely.
The Farmington Valley Trails Council almost got sued by the former owner of the sidewalk, which is the trail going from the Canal Heritage Trail to the River Trail. You know the little sidewalk that's the trail there.
You mean the road going down?
Yes, because we painted an arrow on there for a ride once, and they got furious and tried to sue us.
Hmm.
This is an absolutely true story. You cannot paint on private property without their approval. If they approve, paint the Mona Lisa. But if they don't approve,
All right.
Well, good to know. Thanks, Bruce.
yeah. Well, we learned that the hard way.
So
That was
Well, let's learn it once and
Liability.
share then. All right, anything else that you got, Ron? Before we go on
No,
to
just that I'll be visiting both those companies soon. All right. I'm done.
Well, yeah, because there's nothing to prevent us or the town from going to them and saying, it's a good idea to have a sidewalk or a painted crosswalk. You're the only two places that don't have them on the entire trail. It might be worth having a conversation. We can't force it, but
Oh, that's
Oh,
a good question.
good
Do we
idea.
have that other places? Are there other businesses who have painted their driveways?
Sure.
Trump.
A good example is Trump Corporation
yeah,
has a crossing on Johnson Avenue. They painted it. That's
Oh,
their
okay.
driveway.
right
Yeah.
across
Who-
the
now,
street
who-
from EBM, which doesn't have it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
right. So EBM, I know, is the one that I recall that doesn't have. Yes.
Yeah.
And Quantico?
Quinoco,
Oh,
the storage
Quantico doesn't
facility.
either.
yeah, the storage facility for the oil company. Yes, exactly.
I just don't know why they don't want them. It's
You can ask them again. I can't imagine. They'll. It's worth asking. I mean, Neil's got a point. I mean, it's totally
Yeah,
worth
great.
asking.
Bring examples of companies who have stepped up and done it for the safety of the pedestrians.
Listen, why don't you guys sell it this way? The next time they paint their driveway, they paint the stripes for the cars, say, hey, would you mind throwing some lines across there? Would it be a good idea? And probably at the same time, it'll probably cost them almost nothing, and they might do it for you. Sell it that way.
so who actually paints the lines?
I'm sure that somebody paints their driveway every few years for their cars for parking. That's what I'm thinking. If you do that, that might be an easy sell.
All right, I'm just having trouble finding contact information for EBM. So if anyone knows anyone there.
Just walk in the front door and talk to the receptionist, and
Yeah.
she'll put you in contact with somebody.
They'll talk to you.
Okay.
They say no, but they'll talk to you.
Yeah, I've heard some things about him.
I don't know anything about E EBM.
Okay, I'm gonna shut up.
No, thanks for sharing, Ron.
Oh, for those of you who aren't here, there's a lovely young lady doing an article of the 4 bicycle-friendly communities in the Farmington Valley. Out of 11 in the state, 4 are right here: Farmington, Canton, Simsbury, Avon. So I spoke with her today. Probably spoke way too long. And anyway, it will be out next week, hopefully.
Nice.
Yeah. So hopefully she doesn't write half of what I said. In fact, I had to text her back and say, I'm gonna pull back on that on what I said about this, blah blah blah. Yeah.
Nothing is off the record, Ron.
Yeah.
I know. I'm just kidding. I'm really looking forward to it. And if I see it before you guys, it's Connecticut Insider.
Yeah, it's Connecticut Insider. She called me and I sent her to you.
Yeah, which might be part of the current. I'm not sure.
It's an imprint. Yeah, it's similar to the Connecticut Mirror, but different. I think it might be owned by the Current. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so that'll be cool.
Ron, you didn't tell them about the time you tried to kick the people off the trails with your Rails to Trails police thing, did you?
I did not mention the trail jail.
All right, we're good.
The rail trail jail, Ron's rail
Yeah.
trail jail.
You know, I totally forgot about it. I did invite her to come for a ride one time and just write an article about how beautiful the trail itself is.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It'd be even nicer without
Okay.
snow on it.
So anyway, hopefully I don't get misquoted.
I'm sure you did great.
Yeah, that never happens.
Neil,
Yeah, I
I'm
mean, that
done.
always happens. I mean,
I know.
I get quoted a lot, and I am extremely careful about what I say, as you can all imagine, and I still get misquoted. So yeah,
Hmm.
Anything else, gentlemen?
All right.
Go on to minutes.
I have one thing. I'm not sure if it's under new business though. Have we gotten to that yet?
Well, we kind of passed through that, but why don't you bring it to the table? What do you got?
I was on the bike trail down on Railroad Place the other day, and there's a turnaround where they have a no wall on the trail, and it's got a crosswalk painted in there. It must be a turnaround for the trucks or something, but they are packing snow in there that is 5 or 6 feet deep. They're using it to store snow. And when I went riding just the other day when it was in the 50s, there was still snowbanks on there that you had to get off your bike and navigate around. Is there a way we can prevent that? I mean, I'm not sure who's doing it. I don't think it's the town. I think it might be maybe some of the landowners trying to plow their driveways. But if we can get them to even just push it across the trail, they'd be fine.
Well, where was it?
It was on Railroad Place, almost down at the very end. There's right
There's
in
a
that section.
bollard.
There's a couple of bollards on each side, and then there's a painted crosswalk
Yeah.
because there's like a turnaround there.
Yeah, it's south of Unionville Auto Body. I forget the
Yeah,
the
Hunter's
last building
Ridge.
on that lot. Yeah.
Hunter's Ridge is the development.
No, it's not the development.
No, am I in
No,
the
it's-
wrong area? Oh,
It's where
over
it's where the new coffee place just opened up, Daily
Oh.
Grind. It's in the back of that.
the
It's
depot?
down farther than that.
Yeah, down
Okay.
farther.
Almost at the
That-
end.
Yeah, that is for trucks. You know, the big 18 wheelers to turn around there.
Well,
They
I
needed
was
the room.
I was frankly surprised that they put all the snow in there that they did if they're actually using that
Yeah.
for a turnaround.
I've
But
never seen one use it, but I think that's what it was designed for.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, it's one thing for a plow to go by a bike trail and throw snow up on it. That's one thing. But when you're intentionally packing snow in there and it's not melting for weeks at a time and the rest of the trail is clear, there's a problem.
Hmm.
All right. Can probably send him a letter. Some kind of like
Well,
violation letter.
you know what, Dylan, the easiest thing might be just to drop by and,
Yeah.
and talk to somebody, and you'll start that way.
Yeah. All right, I see what you mean now. It's kind of like an arched crosswalk.
I have
So
pictures.
Yeah.
Oh, you do? All right. You want to send those to Dylan?
I probably could do that.
That
Yeah,
way you know what we're
send me
talking
the
about.
photos, Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks, Matt.
For the agenda next month, can you put down bollard discussion, because it's going to become through the Farmington Valley Trails Council and a lot of other input we've come up with recommendations. So if we can talk about that next month.
Sure.
All right. Thanks, Ron.
You're welcome.
All right. Anything else before we move on to minutes approval? Everyone had a chance to take a look at the minutes? Any discussion?
No, not for me.
make a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
Second. All right, all in favor? We
Aye.
have people. All right, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a nice Valentine's Day, and we're adjourned.
Uh,
ahead.
Matt,
All right.
use my email that you get the agenda and meeting minutes through.
And Dylan, you said you guys ordered the water fountain, right?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, I believe it's about it was about an 8-week lead time, so
Okay.
about 4
April.
weeks left. I know they shipped it on February 12th from the factory.
Okay.
Great. That's
So
It's
great.
probably on a
overall, it
bicycle
takes
trailer.
to get here from Michigan, I believe.
Hmm. Well, as long as it's not on a canoe or something, we're good to go. Yeah. Good. That's
Awesome.
fantastic. That's good news.
Good news.
Okay, all in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Here we go.
Thanks,
All right,
everyone.
everyone.
thank you.
Thanks very much.
Stay safe.
Talk to you all soon.
Take care.